Sıkmış koluna elin adamını beni orta yerinden çatlatıyor. Ağzında sakızı şişirip şişirip arsız arsız patlatıyor. Biz böyle mi
But first we want to talk about Hotel Amira. So that's where we stayed in the old
Honestly,
city.
mad appreciation for those people. I looked forward to their breakfast every single day. I would set that alarm, okay? I don't set alarms in the morning. I'd set that breakfast is starting in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Let me get my makeup on.
You were more disciplined about breakfast on vacation than you are at home.
Because it was like the gozlemes that lady would make in her little room.
So what's a gozleme?
It's kind of think a savory crepe, but Turkish. And it's not a batter, it's like a dough. So anyways, she asked you if you want butter or not, and she'd put a little thing, she put it on a plate, and you just ate it. And honestly, I don't think I ate as much at any meal that I did at breakfast.
Yeah.
Because I would have eggs, potatoes, cheese, yogurt, and then it goes lemon. And the coffee was great
It was
too.
the perfect way to start the day, whether it be the old lady doing the gozlemes, as I said, organic honey, cucumbers, tomatoes, olives.
It was kind of funny too, because we had like this, well, at least me and the boys had this unspoken competition with these two Korean boys at the table next to us, and we'd see their family every morning. Swear to God, they take all the food. They would go back for 4 rounds. So the goal was to get to breakfast before they would, so that we could get the food, like the best batch of the food.
Destroy the Korean hegemony.
It's kind of funny because like, the hotel kind of had its own culture in itself, where it's like, you know what people would be at the 7:30, you know what people would be at 8:30, you know what people would be at breakfast at 9:30. So it's like whenever you'd wake up, you'd just be with a completely different crowd. So the people who had kids and stuff, younger kids, would always be at the later breakfasts. So we'd always try to go to the earlier breakfasts, and there was no one there too, so it was kind of peaceful. So it was funny, like breakfast was kind of like a whole thing, like, hey, I'm going down to breakfast, see you there, I'm not waiting for you, good night.
Even when we had jet lag, the first time when we arrived the first night, nobody could sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're like, when's breakfast? They're like 7:30. Like, oh shit, we still got 5 hours and a half. But yeah, Hotel Amira to us was a home away from home. It's in the old city. And that's something where...
It was very walkable.
Well, this is what I'm going to bring up for folks. We preferred the old city versus the more modern European side. Mm-hmm. And not saying that... But the modern European side you've seen before. You know, you'll see that at in other cities around. Great, you guys have Starbucks too. You know, good for you. But what I liked about the old city is that the walkable aspect, it was closer to the museums, monuments, etc. But mostly it's like where Hotel Amira was located, the view of the Marmara Sea, but then about 15-20 minutes walk to the Bosphorus and to the ferries that would bring you to the Asian side. So I think it was just the location to us, and especially then the breakfast was massive. So to Sam and all the crew that's there, I'll let you know that this episode is up, so you guys can give us a shout out as we are to you now. Mm-hmm. I wanted to go then to a theme. I mean, for me on the travel tip, unless you wanted to continue.
You can go.
Yeah,
I kind of have a lot, so it's probably going to be a while.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about guide individual tours versus just getting off the beaten path.
Yeah, that's one of my points.
So the food story I gave about the P-Day, and where we had an address, or my wife had an address, and then we kind of got lost and picked randomly this place, but
Mom
it turns
was
out
in
to
charge.
be
okay.
But it wasn't a big deal because it turned out to be a massively beautiful experience. So we liked having one guide for us, at least to go to the different parts and point us to places, and having lunch with him and sharing his experience. For those who don't know, these guys have to spend 5 years in university to become guides.
Like they're historians, proper historians.
They're historians. They take this very seriously. They know a lot. So if you can afford it, and it's not that expensive for especially a family of 5, it was well worth it. Now, the larger groups and guided tours, as usual, you get to fall on human beings, like that couple in Portland. Jesus Christ. I mean, I would have thrown them off the fucking hot air balloon if I could, if they came that morning. They're like, you guys are going to the balloons? Oh, we didn't do that. I'm like, thank the Lord. Because I'm like, I would have thrown you off the basket. It was so bloody annoying. But the problem is, this lady latched onto me. She's like, so Benjamin, what are you? I'm like, we're not friends. Fuck off, lady. You know? And the husband, what a dick.
Yeah.
He's just a dick.
Yeah, you do run into some interesting people with your tour group. So I'm glad we did the private one because I don't think I would have been able to deal with people. Like after doing the tour group in Cappadocia, we did meet some really cool people, like this Indian couple.
Indian couple
They were awesome. They're literally, I hope they're still together. Their story was literally amazing. I hope
you guys are together.
I hope they see this video.
Well, no, but we have to explain. We met this Indian couple, and the way that they sat together, the way they talked to each other, my first instinct was like, damn, I'm like, this bitch can talk. And I'm like, he's listening to everything. Like, he's like concentrating on her.
Patient.
And I'm like,
okay.
I hope he gets laid tonight because he's doing all the right thing. And of course, they were smokers. So then when I went to have a cigar, I went to talk to them. It turns out that it was the first time that they were meeting. They had met online through kind of an Indian marriage type dating website. And they decided to meet in Cappadocia, and then they're going to Istanbul.
Right, because she lives in London.
Oh no, they're going to Ankara, then Istanbul.
Doesn't he live in? Doesn't she?
Somebody
she
was in Dubai. He was in London. Something like that. No.
No, she was in London. I think.
She was in London. He was in India.
He was in India.
And it was the first time. And of course, I'm just like, well, do they have separate rooms? Are they rooms together? So we started getting gossipy.
We were like, what? Like, it was really funny. And then we'd like talk, and we'd be like, oh shit, the Indian couple in Spanish. And I remember the next day we saw them again, and we were like, oh shit, they're back. Like, we're still with them and stuff. And they ended up being like our friends the second day, and we ate lunch with them.
And we did a fashion show.
Cool.
We did a fashion show.
Yeah, we did a fashion show with him.
With the boy. He was awesome. So sometimes in these guided things, you know, the only travel tip I can say is that unfortunately you're subjected to everybody else's schedule. Just be patient and then be pleasantly surprised. But engage with the people on your bus, because what we did is the quicker you engage with these folks, you can also create a group strategy, because by the way, they try to make you stop the hustler mentality, and we'll talk about that. They make you stop in different places. Oh, here's my friend's pottery place. Or here we bring you to the leather fashion place. Or here, and some places are legit and you like it. But sometimes you got to get a group, and you got to look at the group like, we're wrapping this up. Fucking quick.
Now.
We're out of here.
No, I think that.
I'm like, you're not buying. Don't look at that pottery. Don't do it. But they were patient with me because I bought a rug, but that was worth it.
Yeah, it's a pretty rug. But it was funny because the Italian lady who was on our tour group after, you were like showing everybody, and they were like, this is our rug. And she was like, bellissima. It was so funny. She was like yelling in Italian.
They love. She goes, that's a beautiful rug.
She was so funny.
But she was funny because when the tour, I remember in the ancient monastery, you know, the guy said it, but it was like she was saying it as if like she had discovered it. The guy's like, he's like, remember, he's like, I can't do his act. He's like, this in the 13th century was this, and it became a Muslim church. And then the ladies to his left, she goes, hey, è una cappellina. And I'm like, yes, he just said it. I'm like, you translate for your husband who's not paying attention to you, he's on the phone?
Yeah, he was on the phone.
He's like conducting like
his Italian cousin or something, like yelling.
Like doing negotiations and screaming. We're like, we can't hear the Italian guy screaming. Could you repeat that? Because he was very soft spoken on that.
Yeah, no, very interesting characters on our tour.
So I would say do the guided tours, do individual guide, but at the same time, do your own research, do your own shit, and most importantly, as Camila says, it's universes upon universes, almost like the Grand Bazaar, which we didn't talk about too much, but every road, every nook and cranny leads you to a new conversation, some more tea, possibly some Turkish delight. Suddenly you've got a rug, suddenly I've got thing, and I'm like, why am I spending money? I had no desire to spend money, but I'm kind of happy.
Yeah.
So, and what else, Camila?
I mean, okay, my travel tips kind of go on, but going off of what you said, you kind of have to culturally adapt yourself, like, or just at least try to make an effort to immerse yourself, because there was a lot of people that I ran into that were being very, like, or at least I noticed or observed that they were just very, like, didn't want to, like, I guess, give it a chance, you know what I mean? Like, people being difficult in a sense, you know what I mean? And it's just, like, you don't want to look different, you know what I mean? Like, and with the whole hustler thing, it's just, like, you have to blend in as much as possible, because if you look like a citizen, like someone who lives there and knows where they're going, they're not going to bother you. But if you look different and act different, they will target you. So that's why I was like, some people I was like, ooh, girl, you're giving yourself away right now.
Yes,
Like, you know,
exactly.
like you're walking down the street and I'm like, girlfriend, you're giving yourself away. But that brings me to the other tip. When you're walking down the streets, there's the owners, I guess, or the workers, they stand in front of their little shops, right? But everyone's yelling. Like, some people are yelling suitcases, others candles, this one spices. It's a whole thing, right? So you're walking down the street and they're just yelling at you in your face. But the funny thing is they try to guess where you're from. So they have like 7 languages that just bust out of their pocket. So like, I think I got yelled at in Spanish, I got yelled at in French, I got yelled at in Italian, and then I got yelled at in English by the same guy. And I was like, oh, y'all, I can't do this. And I remember I was like, I was ahead of everybody else, and I was waiting for me, and he kept going. He kept going, and I wasn't giving in, because I was like, no, I'm going to make this guy think I'm like, from like, freaking Antarctica or something.
How great is it, and how dangerous it is when you have the sales acumen and also that hustler
mentality.
Like,
you also kind of feel bad because you want to follow. You're like looking, but you can't. Which brings me to the first tip: do not address your family out loud in public. Choose a very wise volume level, because if you give an inch as to what language you may speak with your family or how you communicate, they will take advantage, and then they will take advantage of you. And I don't know about you, but I'm easily manipulated. So when this guy started busting out in Spanish, I was like, props to you. I want to go in your store.
Yeah.
So it's just like, watch out, because it's like kind of like a siren effect where it's like you get lured in and you're like, damn, like you have to respect it.
But the hustle Camila is coming from every single angle. It's not just on the street, as you said. It's also then whether the individual guide or the guided tours, there's certain spots that they're comfortable with and they hit up. So they got their boys or their girls that they're trying to hook up. So they'll go, oh, that guy does this, that guy does that. And you're like, you're starting to cost me a lot of money. I'm like, this guided tour is starting to be very expensive. Our tour guide was
great because he brought us to different little stores of his friends and stuff. But like another sales technique that they had was the guys would flirt with you.
Yes.
Like I got 2 free things from this one pottery place. I mean, granted, we bought a bunch of things from them and the things were beautiful or whatever. But the guy was like giving me looks and I was like, I know what you're doing and stuff. And like, especially like in the stores where I was looking at stuff too, like they would flirt with me and I'm like, girl, you gotta convince my dad. You're not gonna get through me with flirting. You gotta convince my dad. You know what I mean? And this one guy, he just kept calling me nicknames and things like that. And I was like, dude, I don't have the cash. Like, you gotta go to my dad.
Yes.
Like, you're better off going into my dad's ego than mine.
If I remember the guy and who you're talking about, he was very sweet and he had a good style. And also, obviously, as I'm paying, he's like, I like rich people. I'm like, well, you're not talking to one right now. I'm like, this is called highway robbery, but I'll accept it because he threw in some tea for us. He threw in some extra Turkish delight.
Yeah, he was great. He was so great. And he was so nice. But he like literally flirted with me. I was like, buddy.
But that happens. So.
But yeah.
It's all done in the spirit of
sales,
it's
great.
Nothing
negative, but it's
nothing
just like
at all.
Some people get uncomfortable with that, and that's like one of the biggest things I wish somebody warned me about. That some dude was gonna be screaming in my face about perfume, Which brings you to the other thing: bring comfortable shoes because you're going to be walking around.
Yes.
Because it's controlled chaos. So, add on the fact that there's literally a million people walking in the streets. There's people standing outside this thing screaming at you. Behind you, there's a bunch of honking horns because the car traffic is absolutely insufferable.
This is Istanbul.
Yes, this is Istanbul. We tried to get a taxi, I think for a good 2 hours. We ended up walking back to the hotel. It was like 5 miles, and I wanted to shoot myself and throw myself off of the freaking Galata Tower by the end of the day because my back was in so much pain from walking, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. But yeah, bring comfortable shoes. Because I brought boots and stuff, so like, and I was like, I only wore them once when we went out to dinner because you needed sneakers. And I think mom ended up buying like a new sneakers and stuff. Like, it was a whole thing. So bring comfortable shoes. Bring comfortable shoes.
So you talked about the back pain and the comfortable shoes then, and also you talked about the pollution and the cigarettes and all that, but I wanted to finish off today. I mean, maybe you might have some more tips, but let's talk about the last experience before we got on the plane, which is the Turkish bath, the hammam. So to set the stage is that the hammam is a Turkish bath where you're bathed, and women and men are separate. But this one, the one that we went to is obviously a little more expensive, but not so much when you compare to the US. But it's built right next to Hagia Sophia. And
There's a history behind it too,
and the Sultan's wife, she wanted the experience of the man to mirror that of the woman, or vice versa. And so that's it. The women enter on one side, on the south side, and then the men enter on the north. And so you and your mother went on the south. I went to the north, but we had the same kind of experience. I mean, I had a little more complete, but it was really very peaceful, unique, right? Once you get over the hang-ups that you're being scrubbed by a male who's telling you that you ate too much kebabs while he's rubbing your belly, I'm like, wait, this is kind of weird. But the marble, the sauna,
it's literally full on marble. There's not one thing that's...
It was absolutely beautiful. And when you come out of there, you're refreshed, you're cleansed. They give you organic blackberry tea also to help with the immune system and to flush you out. Again, the tea culture as we have here with the chai.
But I was like legit peer pressured into doing that because I knew, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get scrubbed naked. I'm just not comfortable with that. I was like, oh wait, I'm gonna be naked in front of a bunch of people, which I mean, like, it's normal or whatever, but it's just like I've never done that. So I was like, okay, I wasn't a fan, you know. So I had signed up originally to just get a massage, which was fine, and then I got peer pressured by the damn lady at the front, which is like, damn these hustler people, because they were really pushing for it. I was like, fine, I'll do your damn home if you shut up. So,
right.
But it was great. I didn't think that I was gonna get like scrubbed by a naked woman in front of me and me being naked. I was like, I'm really confused. Like, how did my life get here? And it's just my mom's across from me and she's getting scrubbed too, and we're just looking at each other like, is it just not two naked people in front of us? We're like, okay, like, this is weird.
Yeah, but you listen.
And then
you didn't want to do it, but then you realized.
No, it was great.
Well,
like,
it was great.
I felt
yes.
great, and they did the little bubble thing where it's like a sheet, and then and there's a bunch of soap all over you. So forget oils. It was just
they
soap.
treat you like a human dishwasher.
Yeah, kind of. And your skin feels like it's being like burnt because it's a salt scrub, so it and they're like going too. And I was so embarrassed, like the amount of dead skin that was coming off. I was like, wow, you should shoot yourself right now because this is so embarrassing for you. And she was like, a lot of dead skin. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I had dead skin too because
but mom didn't have any. Like, she was like, you're so clean. I was like, oh, I guess I'm just dirty. Like, I'm just dirty, I guess.
Maybe we need to scrub a little more, but we were taking showers every day, but yeah, we had more dead skin than you.
I was like, maybe it's because we're swimmers and we're in the chlorine in our skin. I don't know, maybe something like that, but it was cool, and I felt refreshed. And we should have done it more than once. I don't know why we only did it once, but after you figured out the whole thing and you kind of just got comfortable sitting there naked, like, you kind of just like, I'm just sitting there, like, I'm just completely, I'm like, I'm just willing to accept this. Like, it's fine. Like, everybody else is naked, but of course, it's like there's one woman, she's like in a swimsuit. I'm like, could you not just culturally adapt yourself? Which brings it back to the other point. Just immerse yourself. Don't be different. Don't be like that woman in her Target swimsuit. Okay? Yeah, we know who you are. Like, I was like, girl, come on.
Well, yeah, a lot of people, when it comes to nudity and their bodies, you had hang-ups when we pitched you the idea, but then you didn't.
Oh, I did it. I was like, whatever.
Yes, but you weren't kicking and screaming. Let's be honest.
I wasn't kicking and screaming on the floor.
It's an expression. I'm like, we had to twist your arm a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not
but in the end, it's a very.
It was different. I'm not.
It's a realistic
okay.
experience.
There's a difference. I wasn't uncomfortable with the nudity. I'm not uncomfortable with that. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what? Like, just the whole idea of it was just confusing. And I was like,
But you shouldn't have been shocked based on an episode that we have already done talking about baths and talking about cleanliness and talking about the water closet. There's certain cultures where the Japanese, the Turkish, the Romans also at the time, it's like that was a place to get together. But what I loved about it is that it's just, again, the architectural and engineering feat of this hammam, where he puts you in this kind of alcove satellite room, and then with just water filling up these different kind of basin toilet looking type bowls, if you want. And as the hot water is coming in, it creates steam, and within 5 minutes, you're in a proper sauna, but it's done just through this circulation
No, yeah, my skin
of
was
water,
so red,
and also how the walls are set up, and you're just like, Jesus, what a...
And they were so nice too. Like the ladies would hold your hand and they'd talk to you, because it's like funny, because I think they could sense how like it was awkward for some people, and you can just like see each of them talking to people, and I felt fine, completely fine. I didn't even know this woman. I was like, yeah, I was. You can just take off my towel. It's fine. Like, you know. So it was comfortable, and it was cool, because I don't think any of my friends would have done something like that. So it's just fun to be like, yeah, I was scrubbed naked. What about you? Yeah. What did you do this Christmas break?
So there's more and more to finish off today. If we haven't convinced you to visit Turkiye, Turkey, for if you still want to pronounce it that way, then we haven't done our job. We thought, I mean, to me, it was a unique experience. It was lovely. I want to return when it's a little warmer, because we were there in December, January, although it wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't bad. It was like 60s. It was only bad in Cappadocia. But
it was just bad in Cappadocia because you're more in the mountains and central region. But Istanbul was pleasantly refreshing, I would say, in the morning.
It was like 60s, 50s, yeah. The coldest, I think, was 40s.
But yeah, so I'd like to return when there's more flowers, because you can see even in Cappadocia a lot of vines go through the houses, which Dale pointed out. And I can't imagine what that looks like, green, and also to see hot air balloons go up.
Yeah,
when it's warmer, it must be just really impressive. So just the overall region, as I said, really striking. There's a reason why it was considered, or is considered, the center of the world. There's a reason why, from then a geopolitical energy standpoint, it really sets itself apart, and also has been a controversial place. But they certainly know how to treat their tourists. They certainly know how to cook for them, and also offer it at ridiculously advantageous prices compared to other places. So yeah, go. You know, we love it. We love you, Turkiye.
Yeah.
And
I'll definitely post some pictures for you guys on our Instagram, because I have a lot.
Yeah.
That I didn't post.
And then we'll put some up. Hopefully, we'll get some videos of the hot air balloon or other images, so you guys get a sense of the awesomeness. And we'll see you next time on the next episode on Submerge Podcast. Thank you for being patient with us, and we're kicking off 2023. And thank you, Abuelo, for being patient with us on this episode.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Babamızdan ele güne rezil oldu. Yeni adet gelmiş eski köye bak. Dostlar mahvoldu.